The night my life tilted off its axis was not loud or dramatic, but heavy, like a door closing softly behind me while I stood frozen. I was a single father used to silence after bedtime, used to reheating leftovers and pretending loneliness was just tiredness. When my boss looked at me with desperation instead of authority and asked me to pretend to be her husband for 1 year, the ground beneath my carefully built routine cracked. It wasn't the request itself that shook me. It was the unspoken weight behind it, the promise that my quiet life and my son's fragile sense of stability were about to be tested in ways I could not yet imagine. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us how unexpected paths can heal broken people, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel Soul Tale. Your support keeps stories like this alive. I had built my life around predictability after my wife passed away. Every morning began with packing lunches, tying shoelaces, and convincing my son that the world was still safe even though his mother was gone. My job was just that, a job. My boss was distant, sharp, successful, the kind of woman who commanded boardrooms and intimidated silence out of grown men. I never imagined our lives would collide beyond spreadsheets and deadlines. But behind her polished image was a woman cornered by her family's expectations, a looming inheritance tied to appearances, and a year-long lie she believed could save everything she had worked for. I said yes because I needed the money, because my son's future mattered more than my comfort, and because I recognized that look in her eyes, the same look I saw in the mirror on nights when grief felt unbearable. Moving into her penthouse felt like stepping into someone else's movie. Clean lines, glass walls, and a guest room that didn't feel like mine. The rules were clear: public appearances, shared dinners when required, and absolute discretion. But rules blur when two wounded people share the same air. My son, quiet and observant, noticed everything. He noticed the way she softened around him, how her voice lost its sharp edge when she helped with homework or listened to his stories. And she noticed the way my entire world revolved around that child, how every decision bent toward protecting him. Slowly, the lie became more complicated, stitched together with small acts of care that felt dangerously real. The first real challenge came when the world began to believe the story. Colleagues smiled differently. Her family watched us closely, measuring affection in glances and gestures. At night, when the lights dimmed and the city hummed outside, the distance between us felt smaller, more charged. Sharing space meant sharing silences, shared breakfasts, shared exhaustion. I slept lightly, aware of how close everything was to falling apart. She carried her own storms, memories of betrayals and sacrifices that hardened her long before I knew her. We were two people pretending to be whole, leaning against the same fragile wall. The pressure peaked when my son called her family without thinking, a simple word slipping out that shattered the careful balance. I expected anger, consequences, an end to the arrangement. Instead, I saw fear in her eyes, not of exposure but of loss. In that moment, I realized this year wasn't just about appearances. It was about survival for both of us. For her, it was the first time someone needed her without wanting something in return. For me, it was the first time since my wife died that the future felt less like an endless hallway and more like an open door. Life has a way of testing lies by turning them into truths. Illness, deadlines, school events, late nights, and quiet mornings blurred the lines. She learned my routines, my son's fears, the shape of our grief. I learned her vulnerabilities, the scars behind her ambition, the loneliness she hid behind control. We began to move like a family without nomming it, careful, cautious, but undeniably connected. The world saw a perfect image, but inside that image were messy, human emotions growing roots where there should have been nothing. The turning point came when the lie threatened to cost us everything. A confrontation forced us to face the truth we had been avoiding, that pretending had changed us. I stood at the edge of losing my job, my home, and the fragile peace my son had found. She stood at the edge of losing her independence and the walls she had built to survive. It was terrifying, standing there without scripts or agreements, only raw honesty and the realization that kindness had quietly rewritten our story. When the year ended, nothing looked the same. The contract expired, but the connection didn't. We had both changed, softened by shared burdens and unexpected love. My son smiled more easily, slept without nightmares, trusted the world again. She learned that strength didn't mean standing alone, and that letting someone in wasn't weakness. We didn't rush the ending. We didn't need to. The most powerful changes had already happened in the quiet moments no one else saw. If this story stirred something inside you, if it reminded you that love can grow in the most unlikely places, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and let us know your thoughts. Your engagement helps these stories reach hearts that need them. Before this story ends, I have one special request for you. Please comment the word hope if you believe that kindness and second chances can change lives. Because sometimes, the greatest love stories begin as lies, grow through shared pain, and end as something far more honest than either person ever expected.